The Indiana Fever just pulled off the impossible. 24 hours ago, they had 0 healthy point guards on their roster. Caitlin Clark, out for her 10th straight game. Sydney Colson, season-ending ACL tear. Ari McDonald, broken foot, done for the year, but somehow, someway, the Fever just demolished the Chicago Sky 92-70, and what happened next sent shockwaves through the entire WNBA. Before we dive into the chaos, hit that subscribe button because what I'm about to reveal changes everything about the Indiana Fever's championship hopes. We're talking exclusive updates that nobody else is covering, and trust me, you need to hear what Natasha Howard just said about Caitlin Clark's return. Because here's what the mainstream media won't tell you: the Fever are actually better right now than they've been all season. Yeah, you heard that right. Without their superstar point guard, without their backup point guards, this team just posted their most dominant performance of the year. Kelsey Mitchell dropped 26 points and basically said, "Forget the point guard position, I'll do it myself." Lexi Hull went from bench warmer to starter and hit 4 threes like it was nothing. Sophie Cunningham scored 16, Aaliyah Boston added 15, and they did it all while their head coach Stephanie White was calling the whole situation a blessing in disguise. But wait, it gets crazier. While everyone's focused on when Caitlin Clark might return, the real story is what just happened behind closed doors. The Fever literally signed a player off the street, and not just any player. They grabbed Odyssey Sims, a 33-year-old veteran who was waived by the Sparks just weeks ago. And get this, Sims has history with Caitlin Clark. Last year, when she played for Dallas, she went head-to-head with Clark and dropped 24 points while Clark was setting the single-game assist record. After that game, Sims said something about Clark that's now resurfacing everywhere, and it reveals exactly what's about to happen when these two become teammates. See, while Black and White Sports was speculating about August 12th being Clark's return date, they missed the bigger picture. The Indiana Fever just went from having a point guard crisis to potentially having the deepest backcourt in the league. Think about it. When Clark comes back, she'll have Odyssey Sims, a former All-Star and All-WNBA player, as her backup. That's never happened before in Clark's career, college, or pro. She's always had to do everything herself, play 40 minutes a night, never get a break. Now, suddenly, she's got a veteran who averaged over 17 points per game just last season, ready to spell her whenever she needs it. But here's where things get controversial, and I mean really controversial. Stephanie White, the Fever's head coach, went on NBA Today and basically said the team doesn't need Caitlin Clark right now. Her exact words: "Sometimes injuries can be a blessing in disguise because everybody else finds themselves." She said nobody's afraid to make the big play anymore. Think about what that means. The head coach of the Indiana Fever is essentially saying her team plays with more confidence when their franchise player isn't on the court. And the numbers back it up, which is the insane part. The Fever just rattled off 5 straight wins without Clark. They're 18-14 on the season, sitting in 5th place, and they've got 11 games left to secure their playoff position. During this winning streak, Natasha Howard has been averaging a double-double. Kelsey Mitchell is now leading the entire WNBA in total points scored this season with 637. Lexi Hull went from averaging 4 points per game to dropping 17 against Chicago while shooting 67% from 3. But the drama doesn't stop there. Remember when I mentioned Natasha Howard? Well, she just posted something on social media that has everyone talking. After the win against Chicago, she responded to a team post by writing, and I quote, "We will always be fighting for each other, but we feel this fight is a little different with our girls out of the lineup. All the hard work they've put in over this season won't go unnoticed. Win or lose, just know we are fighting to the end for Sydney, Cece, and Ari." Then she added something that made every Fever fan lose their minds. She wrote, "See you soon, Cece," with a fire emoji. Now everyone's trying to decode what "see you soon" means. Is she confirming the August 12th return date that ESPN has listed? Does she know something we don't? Because here's what nobody's talking about. The Fever's next game is Tuesday, August 12th against the Dallas Wings. It's at home. It's against the team where Odyssey Sims just played last season, and it would give Clark exactly 11 games to get ready for the playoffs. But let me tell you what's really happening behind the scenes, because this goes way deeper than just injuries. Earlier this season, the Fever had to waive DeWanna Bonner because she refused to come off the bench. She thought she'd be a starter under Stephanie White, and when that didn't happen, she basically quit on the team. The Fever said she left for personal reasons, but Bonner herself admitted the fit didn't work out. She wanted to play for Phoenix or Atlanta instead. Then you had the Natasha Howard situation. Remember back in July when fans were calling for her to be released? There was a game against Atlanta where Howard literally refused to let Caitlin Clark bring the ball up on a fast break. She held onto it, traveled, and wasted the entire possession. Fans were furious. They said she was a cancer to the team, worse than DeWanna Bonner ever was. Some people even brought up how Howard said in the preseason that her goal was to be MVP, suggesting she was jealous of Clark's spotlight. But here's the plot twist nobody saw coming. Howard has completely transformed her game since Clark went down. She's been the team's best player during this winning streak, putting up 21 points and 12 rebounds against Seattle, carrying the team when they needed her most. She's shooting 69% at the rim, a career-best 55% on floaters, and she's become the veteran leader this young team desperately needed. And that brings us to the elephant in the room that everyone's thinking, but nobody wants to say out loud. Is this team actually better without Caitlin Clark? Because look at the evidence. They're on a 5-game winning streak, their longest in almost 10 years. They're playing faster, moving the ball better, and everyone's getting involved. Aaliyah Boston has 6 straight double-doubles. Sophie Cunningham is hitting threes at a 40% clip. Even the rookies are stepping up. But before you start thinking the Fever don't need Clark, let me hit you with some reality. When Clark plays, the Fever have a 108.6 offensive rating. Without her, it drops to 101.8. That's the difference between a championship contender and a first-round playoff exit. Clark was averaging 16.5 points, 8.8 assists, and 5 rebounds before the injury. She leads the team in assists by a mile. She's their entire offensive system. What Stephanie White is really saying, even if she won't admit it publicly, is that this injury forced the rest of the team to grow up. They couldn't rely on Clark to bail them out anymore. They had to figure it out themselves. And that's exactly what championship teams need. Players who can step up when the superstar is out. Now, let's talk about Odyssey Sims, because her signing changes everything. She's on a 7-day hardship contract right now, which means the Fever can extend it for another 7 days, then potentially sign her for the rest of the season. But here's the catch. Hardship contracts can't extend into the playoffs. So if the Fever wants Sims for their playoff run, they need to make a decision soon. And they absolutely should keep her, because look at what she brings. 11-year veteran, former All-Star, made all WNBA second team. She's played for 6 different teams, won a championship at Baylor, been in every situation imaginable. She knows how to run an offense, how to manage personalities, how to close games. Plus, she already respects Caitlin Clark. Last year after their matchup, Sims said, and I quote, "Everybody has been watching Caitlin. She's a great player. What she does, what she has been doing since game 1 till now, got nothing but respect for her. She did her thing tonight, just awesome all around." That's the kind of teammate Clark needs. Not someone threatened by her success, but someone who appreciates greatness and wants to be part of it. And think about the lineup possibilities when everyone's healthy. You could run Clark and Sims together in a 2-point guard set. You could stagger their minutes so there's always an elite playmaker on the floor. You could go small with Clark, Sims, Mitchell, Hull, and Boston. The versatility is insane. But here's what's really going to determine if the Fever make a playoff run: their remaining schedule. After Tuesday's game against Dallas, they've got Washington on Friday, another winnable game. Then Connecticut on Sunday, who's in last place. Then the real test: back-to-back games against Minnesota on August 22nd and 24th. The Lynx are the best team in the league right now. If Clark's back by then and the Fever can steal one of those games, watch out. Because here's the thing about the WNBA playoffs that nobody's talking about. The Fever are currently in 5th place, but they're only 1.5 games behind 2nd place. The entire middle of the standings is jumbled together. One hot streak, one cold streak, and everything changes. The Fever could finish anywhere from 2nd to 7th, and matchups matter in the playoffs. If they stay in 5th, they probably face the 4th seed in round 1. That could be Phoenix, which would be must-watch TV. Diana Taurasi versus Caitlin Clark in the playoffs. Sophie Cunningham against her former team. The storylines write themselves. Or it could be Atlanta, where they'd have to deal with Ryan Howard and Alicia Gray. Either way, it's winnable if they're healthy. But let's address the real question everyone wants answered. When is Caitlin Clark actually coming back? Because ESPN says August 12th, but the Fever haven't confirmed anything. Stephanie White keeps saying there's no timetable, they're taking it day by day. Clark's long-term health is the priority. But Holly Rowe reported last week that Clark has started full court running at full speed. That's significant. That means she's close. And here's something interesting. Clark has now missed more games this season than she played. 16 games missed, 13 games played. She's dealt with 3 separate muscle injuries: left quad, left groin, now right groin. For someone who never missed a game in college, this has to be devastating mentally. Clark even admitted it herself, saying it's been really hard, challenging her mentally, difficult to prepare for games knowing she won't play. But maybe, just maybe, this is exactly what she needed. Think about it. Clark has been going non-stop since her junior year at Iowa. National championship run, senior year, national championship run again, straight into the WNBA, Olympic team snub drama, all the pressure and scrutiny. She never got a break. Now she's forced to rest, forced to watch, forced to see the game from a different perspective. And what she's seeing is a team that's learning to win without her. That's huge for her psychological burden. At Iowa, everything was on her shoulders. If she had an off night, Iowa lost. If she got in foul trouble, Iowa lost. Now she's seeing Kelsey Mitchell drop 26, Lexi Hull knock down threes, Natasha Howard dominate in the paint. The pressure's being distributed. Which brings us back to Stephanie White and her controversial comments. Look, I get why fans are upset. Calling your superstar's injury a blessing in disguise is terrible optics. But White's not wrong about the team finding itself. This is the same coach who won a championship with the Fever in 2016 as a player, coached them to the finals in 2015, then left for Connecticut and Vanderbilt before coming back this season. She knows what championship teams look like. And championship teams need role players who aren't afraid in big moments. That's what Hull has become. That's what Cunningham is showing. That's what Boston is developing into. Before Clark's injury, they were all deferring to her, waiting for her to make something happen. Now they're creating their own shots, making their own plays, building their own confidence. But let's be real about something else too. The Fever have had chemistry issues all season. The DeWanna Bonner situation was a disaster. The Natasha Howard controversy was real. There were reports about tension in the locker room, questions about Stephanie White's rotation decisions, concerns about whether this team could gel. Some people, like Jason Whitlock, even suggested there was a divide in the locker room along sexuality lines, with Clark leading one faction and Howard leading another. That's probably nonsense, but the fact that people are even talking about it shows how dysfunctional things seemed at times. Yet here they are, 18 and 14, on a 5-game winning streak, about to get their superstar back, just added a quality veteran point guard, and heading into the home stretch with momentum. Sometimes adversity is exactly what a team needs to come together, and that's the real story here. Not just when Caitlin Clark comes back, but what kind of team she's coming back to. Because this isn't the same team that started the season. This is a team that's been battle-tested, that's learned to win without their best player, that's developed secondary options and found their identity. When Clark returns, whether it's Tuesday or next week or whenever, she's not returning to a team that needs her to do everything. She's returning to a team that can actually support her. Odyssey Sims can run the second unit, Kelsey Mitchell can create her own shot. Lexi Hull can space the floor, Natasha Howard can anchor the defense, Aaliyah Boston can facilitate from the post. This is what championship teams look like. Depth, versatility, multiple players who can step up on any given night. The Fever haven't had that in years, maybe ever, but they're building it right now, in real time, through adversity and injuries and controversy. So yeah, Black and White Sports was right about one thing. August 12th might be the date. But they missed the bigger story. This isn't just about Caitlin Clark coming back. This is about the Indiana Fever becoming a complete team. This is about Stephanie White building a culture. This is about young players growing up and veterans stepping up. The Fever aren't just getting their superstar back. They're getting her back to a team that's ready to make a playoff run. A team with depth, confidence, and momentum. A team that just proved they can beat anyone, even without their best player. Tuesday night against Dallas could be the beginning of something special. Caitlin Clark returning to a team that's won 5 straight, Odyssey Sims making her debut, 11 games to prepare for the playoffs. The pieces are falling into place, but here's my question for you. Do you think the Fever are actually better now than they were before Clark's injury? Not because Clark was holding them back, but because the rest of the team has evolved? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this debate is going to define the rest of Indiana's season. The Indiana Fever story is just beginning, And whether Caitlin Clark returns Tuesday or next week, one thing's clear. This team is ready for war. They've been tested, they've grown, and they're not backing down from anyone. The playoffs can't come soon enough.